from our Los Angeles affiliate, KTLA. How about this? The mayor of Arcadia, that's in Los Angeles County, just north and east of downtown LA, now facing federal charges of acting as an agent of China.
Yeah,
Trump's ballroom.
You think? Can we talk about that? It's like, who gives? I don't give about this. It's like.
Well, this is a pretty interesting video, to say the least. Bill Maher sits down with John Fetterman on his podcast, and they have a good heart-to-heart about how the left has tried to destroy America. President Trump gives a little bit of his speech, and he almost gets attacked by a drone, at least what he thought was a drone. Then you got Scott Jennings on CNN doing what he does best. And then the most interesting part of this video is a mayor in China, actually in the LA district, the LA County. She pleaded guilty to being a foreign agent from China. This is just on the brink of President Trump going to China and apparently securing not a few $1 billion, not $100+ billion, over $1 trillion of investments potentially into the United States. There's a lot of weird stuff that's jam-packed in this video, so I hope you stick around for the full thing. Starting things off with the fact that President Trump was giving a speech and he literally looked up and thought he was getting attacked by a drone.
We could have kept that going. What a great song. I won a lot of races with that song. Uh-oh. I thought that was a drone. They make them in all different sizes nowadays. They can be very destructive, as you probably heard.
I mean, good on him for being alert and on the ball, right? I mean, it wouldn't be surprising at this point, after how many attempts on President Trump's life there's been, that somebody would resort to some form of drones next. But this is, a little bit of an older clip, but I like this because it's Trump doing Trump things.
So I get a call from Tom Homan. He didn't like it, but everyone else liked it. I wanted to change the name of ICE.
Nice.
Which is a tough name, to nice. So that when the fake news reports, they said it was a nice day with nice. We spent a beautiful day with nice. I said, you will screw them up so badly they won't know what to do. But they said the people that worked there didn't like the name as much. I love the name.
Nice agents. Nice agents. I love that. I love that idea. Now we're going to take a look at Scott Jennings on CNN because he just makes them look like a bunch of incompetent children.
There's a better chance of me sprouting wings and flying out of that window over there than the United States Supreme Court dealing with this in any way, because this is a state Supreme Court ruling on a state constitution. The U.S. Supreme Court doesn't deal with these kinds of things, number one. Number two, the freak out in Virginia has been so extreme. You even have Democrats over there who are saying they want to effectively politically decapitate the entire Virginia Supreme Court by putting an age limit of 54 so they can get rid of every existing justice and install people who will promise to rule a certain way on a certain case. They went from, oh, this is just a temporary map thing, to let's burn down the entire Virginia Supreme Court in about 2 seconds over there in Virginia, which tells you all you need to know about just how power hungry and corrupt the Democrats are in Virginia. This is not going to work at the U.S. Supreme Court. And this whole project of maximum warfare by Hakeem Jeffries is completely blown up in their face.
I'm sorry, maximum warfare started by Donald Trump, who changed the rules in the middle of the game. We've got states right now that are canceling primaries that are already in play in order to try to fix the election's rules to help the Republican president because he asked them to. It's rich to hear that coming from you. It really is.
What is rich?
Rich is when people, say something that seems outrageous.
in Virginia,
farcical.
You had Democrats in Virginia who broke the law and broke the state constitution to try to move a 6-5 fairly constructed map to a 10-1 farce. They got struck down by Democrats on their own Supreme Court, and now they want to decapitate an entire branch of government over it. It's ridiculous.
That's rich. Come on, CNN, of course. Gotta love Scott Jennings for tolerating that type of discussion. And now we got to take a look at what's going on with Xi Jinping and China. So President Trump took the truth earlier and said, I am very much looking forward to my trip to China, an amazing country with a leader, President Xi, respected by all, great things to happen for both countries. And President Trump is bringing some high-level CEOs with him on his trip.
first, just as he promised. So this, of course, will be a visit of tremendous symbolic significance. But as you said, there are a number of CEOs coming on this trip because this president never travels for symbolism alone. The American people can expect more good deals for our country, continued work on the U.S.-China Board of Trade, deals spanning the aerospace, energy, agriculture industries that ultimately will end that practice of shipping jobs overseas and selling out American workers in favor of policies and agreements that put America first and revitalize our economy here.
So you can see that, that's a list right there of people that are going. You've got Tim Cook, Larry Fink, Kelly Ortberg, Jane Fraser, David Solomon, and Elon Musk are all going to be accompanying President Trump when he goes to China, which is massive. Absolutely massive. And then the news of President Trump and Xi Jinping are reportedly considering a deal to allow China to invest $1 trillion to build factories in the United States. Now, there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of backlash around this post, because if that does come to fruition, is it going to be Chinese workers in those factories, or is it going to be American workers? Because people, both the left and the right, want American workers in those factories creating jobs for America. If that is the case, let me know down in the comments if you think that's good. We'll have to see how that plays out. But where it gets really interesting is the fact that a California mayor, Aileen Wang, was charged as an illegal Chinese agent set to plead guilty. I mean, this is crazy.
All right, other news from across the country tonight, and this one comes in from our Los Angeles affiliate, KTLA. How about this? The mayor of Arcadia, that's in Los Angeles County, just north and east of downtown LA, now facing federal charges of acting as an agent of China. Aileen Wang is set to appear in court this afternoon, expected to plead guilty in the coming days to one felony count of acting as an illegal agent. Wang faces a potential sentence of up to 10 years in prison. The charges stem from a website that she ran a few years ago called U.S. News Center, which was meant for Chinese Americans. The site is accused of posting articles and executing directives for the Chinese government. According to Arcadia's website, Wang has already resigned from her role as the mayor of that city. Wow.
Thank you for watching.
I mean, that's going to be huge, right? Especially on the brink of President Trump going to China to deal with all that stuff. Oh, my goodness. I wonder what the heck they're going to talk about in that meeting. But moving away from China and all that stuff, we now have to take a look at Bill Maher, and who sits down with John Fetterman on the podcast. And in this clip, they talk about the ballroom. Let's have a listen.
To do with anything. You know what it's like to me? The ballroom. Trump's ballroom. You think? Can we talk about that? It's like, who gives? I don't give a fuck about this. It's like, yes, you need. I mean, you've been there. I'm sure you'd seen they have these tents, and it's crazy. And now I was a table.
It's privately funded, first of all. So anything after that, any additional conversation after that almost becomes a moot point, or as Joey Tribbiani says, a cow's opinion, a moot point, because it's privately funded. It's not American taxpayers' money that's going towards building the ballroom. And President Trump isn't even possibly going to get to really reap the benefits of said ballroom, because it's going to take a little bit of time for the construction to be finalized, and by that time there's going to be another election. So again, it's just craziness that the left is just throwing this tantrum over a ballroom.
Away when that assassination. Oh, you were? And it just, I was stunned just walking in. You have the entire line of succession right there, and could you just imagine? I mean, we all remember Oklahoma bomb, right? Yes. They could have had someone, in a room up there. Boom.
It's wild that John Fetterman is the only voice on the left that's speaking common sense these days, right? I mean, it's a private ballroom. The president, Trump, is under obviously a lot of attacks from all over the place, foreign, domestic, okay? And it's likely to get worse since there's 3 more years of this. And then who's to say whoever's president next doesn't face even more attacks. So yeah, having a ballroom, especially if it's privately funded, what the heck are we even talking about at this point? But there is another clip that I want you guys to take a look at. Bill Maher talks with John Fetterman about Venezuela. Have a listen.
We did the move in Venezuela, which has, look, that one you have to say worked pretty good.
Yeah, well, remember, people lost their shit over Venezuela.
Yeah.
No one talks about Venezuela anymore, and that's my point.
No.
People also, I'm sorry, let me say this, that, we're not talking about Gaza anymore, and people forgot, like, yeah, we, ended the Gaza war, brought everyone back home.
It's always like a hot topic when it's trending, and then it just kind of fades away. And then soon nobody's going to be talking about the Strait of Hormuz, probably in 6 months from now, hopefully. And then after he goes and fixes Cuba and takes over Cuba, liberates Cuba from their, communist dictatorship, whatever they got going on over there, nobody's going to be talking about that because stock markets are going to be reaching all-time highs. Jobs are going to be created in the masses. The economy is going to be doing great. And the polls and the midterms and all that stuff is going to work out in President Trump's favor. I have, some pretty good confidence in President Trump pulling this off. He's been proving time and time again that he's able to successfully do this. So in terms of Venezuela, that was one of the most badass military operations that I've ever seen in my lifetime. That was super cool.
As well, too, and this idea that what is the freak out of the day? We're not talking about these things. We've all moved on. And I guarantee by the time this drops, there will be one or two more that, part of this conversation.
But yeah, but Venezuela was, look, I mean, when it does come up in conversation, it usually comes up now when people say, and this could be true, they say, well, Trump saw how well Venezuela worked. He thought he could do it in Iran.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is going to do it. And then it's going to extend beyond that. And it's not just going to be Iran or Venezuela. It's going to be Cuba, and it might be Greenland. And he's going to keep doing it because that's what the president does. That's what a good president does. Tries to solve world problems, deals with geopolitics, and tries to expand the game of what's that board game, Risk or whatever it is, where a country can expand or shrink. If America doesn't start expanding at some point, you're going to have superpower like China tried to overpower America at some point. They've been quietly building very rapidly their economy, their military. And if, if President Trump does secure a $1 trillion deal with them, a bunch of factories get built in America and all that stuff, I mean, are people really going to trust that down the road? Is China really fully trustworthy down the road or even now? So America has to grow, has to expand. That's the game of life. Nobody said it's pretty, but that's how it is. Or else you have things like the Roman Empire happen all the time. The UK used to be on top. They were the kings and queens of the world. They controlled everything. And now look at them. They can't even handle their own general elections because Muslims have taken over all of UK. I know the Reform Party's doing a little bit of groundwork now. It seems like you're going to have a bit of a reversal, but some things are beyond fixing. And I don't want to see America collapse. And I hope you also don't want to see America collapse. It's not going to be pretty. Even if you're anti-Trump, even if you don't like Trump, hoping for the demise of the United States means hoping for possibly the end of the world. It means the stock market goes to crap, trade goes kaputs, and everything falls apart. That's not good. I don't want to live somewhere that's like the purge. I'd like for America to grow and expand and continue not only to dominate the world, but continue to be the world police. At least that's my opinion. I'd like to know where you guys stand down below in the comments. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another one. Bye for now.